Welcome to Dreamifesting, where we awaken to the power of our dreams. I'm your host, Dr. Dream, Kelly Sullivan Walden. So what is Dreamifesting? It's the fusion of manifesting and spirituality, taking inspired action toward your desires, fueled by dreams. It's also the title of my new book. After writing it, I realized I had a lot more to say. That's why in every episode, we explore the intersection of sleep and awake, spirit and science, and yes, the holy and the guacamole. So grab your journal, light a candle, and get ready to Dreamifest, because as you are lifted, all are lifted. At the stage. Hello, everyone. All right. So welcome to the show today. I am live IRL with the amazing Debbie Spector Weisman. I'm here at her home in the Hudson Valley in Gallatin,
Yes.
New York, near Pine Plains. And this is considered the Hudson Valley.
In the middle of nowhere.
In the middle of nowhere, but so close to everywhere. Because if you can make it here or there, you could make it anywhere. All right. So Debbie recently had a lot of stuff happen to her in the last few months, and we want to unpack it. She wrote an amazing article about her experience, and she related it back to dreams, which I thought was so fascinating. So give us a little bit. So let's start off with first, before you were doing Dream Power Radio, you recorded nearly 300 shows.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I consider myself a pretty healthy person.
Mhm.
I'm getting a little older, but healthy. I exercise and eat fairly well. So there didn't feel like there was anything wrong with me.
Mhm.
And like you said,
Mhm.
I was doing a podcast, Dream Power Radio, and one of my guests was a woman who does past life experiences.
Oh my God.
And I had her as a guest, and afterwards she invited me to be on one of her Zoom calls that she does every month with groups of people.
Mhm.
And since I'd never really done a past life experience, I said, sure, why not?
Oh God, famous last words. Normally they're incredibly just positive experiences, but every once in a while, spoiler alert. Okay.
Yeah. So just to make it very short, she started the session and started the trance, and first I didn't feel anything. So I had been sitting down on a chair, decided to lie down on a bed to get more comfortable. She goes through the second trance, and all of a sudden, I just feel something like I can't move my arm.
Oh my God.
My left arm is not moving. And I just had this weird sensation. And all the while, I'm still trying to listen to what she's saying and see if I can get into this. But it was like, no, I was like, I just had to think, I can't wait till this is over.
Oh my God.
I get it. And the next thing I knew, I was in an ambulance. And I woke up and I could see, the trees flying by. And then I closed my eyes. The next thing I knew, it was 5 days later. And I found out that I'd had a stroke, and it was going to be all right. I was getting better. But one thing I had during this time when I was not conscious was this amazing dream.
Okay, let's hear about this amazing dream.
Okay.
Spoiler alert, she lives. But yeah, okay. So
no, I had nothing
but
to
this
do with
dream
that.
might have helped. Who knows?
Could be.
Okay.
You never know. In the dream, I was bareback riding in the ocean on a dolphin. And we were just leisurely making our way under the water, swimming about very peacefully, very lovely. And I felt very comfortable sitting on the dolphin's back and just feeling this increased feeling of joy and freedom and ecstasy.
Oh my God.
And it just left me feeling wonderful. And it's one of these dreams, I didn't need to explain it. Just feel it.
Yeah.
Just feel it.
Right.
And I remembered it when I woke up. So that was the important thing. So I was able to keep it and remember the feeling while I was going through recovery. So that was fine. So I went through the stroke, and it was fairly mild stroke. I did outpatient therapy, then inpatient therapy, and I was just about done with my outpatient therapy on a Sunday morning when all of a sudden I felt something weird happening, and it didn't feel right. I stood up and I called out to my husband. I said, come over here. And then I held on to him and collapsed in his arm, and I just said, call 911. And it turned out that I had had some seizures, which were totally different from the stroke. And what it left me, certainly in the beginning, was a number of hallucinations, or what I thought were hallucinations. The good thing about it was they weren't horrible. It wasn't like nightmares or anything terrible like that. It was just, I would describe everything that happened as weird.
You know how I feel about the word weird.
Yes.
WYRD, Old English for one who stands in both worlds. So
yes.
Keep going.
Okay. So I had these hallucinations, and do you want me to go into detail on it, or
I think let me just first check in for anyone who's watching or listening. Have you ever had, first of all, a past life regression that was wild and wonky and interesting? If so, what happened? And if so, or have you ever had a meditation that took you into another realm? Or have you ever had a stroke that also kind of cracked you open to the other realm, a near-death experience, or a seizure that opened up? I want to just touch in for 1 second. In the new Dan Brown book, which I'm almost at the end of, and I'm so sad to be at the end because it's such a good book. It's called The Secret of Secrets. And in the book, they explore people who have epilepsy, recurring seizures. And it's a really interesting, there's an interesting noetic science perspective on this kind of like it's as if lightning is striking the brain, and there's so much happening that it's like we can't hold on to it, so we seize. But it's a phenomenal experience of opening. So let's go into now some of the things that happened to you, and then we're going to unpack it from a dream perspective.
Okay, so when I was still not quite fully conscious, I had these images of, one night I was sitting awake, sitting on a bed in a hospital, but it was one of these beds that looked like 1930s hospital black and white movies, with iron back on it. And I was on the far left side of the room with 5 beds, and there were 5 beds on the other side of the room, and they were all empty. And I didn't really quite know what to make of it, but I thought, that's strange. The next night, I had this image of my daughter standing in the doorway of this hospital room. And I kept saying, come in, come in, come in. And she just stayed there the whole time. And
she stayed outside the door.
She stayed outside the door, and she didn't say anything or come, attempt to come in. She just stayed outside the door the whole time.
But you were wanting her to come in, and she
very much. She wasn't. She didn't. The next night, I had a phone call. I thought I had a phone call from my son.
Or you were having a phone call in your experience?
Yes, in my experience. And it was strange because it was one of these, like the very first smartphone, like before iPhones came out. It had this big square box kind of thing.
Right.
And he was talking to me and like telling me his woes and everything. And then about how he suddenly became better. And I encouraged him and said, this is wonderful and everything. And that was the end of that conversation. And then once I woke up.
Oh, this is my 11:11 alarm. That means everybody make a wish. It's 11:11 on the East Coast. Okay.
Okay. So then I woke up one morning and I had this vision in my head. And this one wasn't a dream. It was just a vision in my head. And I saw, I was watching a carousel in front of me. And in front of it were pictures of my 2 older sisters. And
who are still with us?
Yes, still with us. They're much older than me. And I kept saying, "I love you and I forgive you. I love you, I forgive you." And one at a time, and then I did one sister, the other sister popped in, and I said the same thing, "I love you, I forgive you, I love you, I forgive you." And then, um, it went to my sister-in-law, and I said the same thing, "I love you, I forgive you," and that was it. And then
Wow.
what was really strange was in real life, what happened was through the seizures, actually through the stroke,
Through street?
well, because of the seizures and because of the stroke, I have I love the medical terms. It's called left hand neglect.
Left hand neglect.
Yeah, which means that I can move my hand, I can move my arm, but I couldn't do fine motor skills with my hands.
I'm
Still
getting
can't do
closer
fine
to the
motor skills with my hand. But when I had the seizures, my hand was very, very small. Like my arms, my fingers looked like little toothpicks.
Oh my
They looked
God.
very, very skinny.
In
And
your experience,
in my real life, in my real life.
in your
And
real life?
no, in my real life from the seizure,
Okay. Oh, wow.
from the neglect.
From the neglect.
But that morning,
Oh.
right after I had those images of my sisters, I felt this giant bolt of electricity soar down my arm,
Oh my God.
like really like hard soar down my arm. And next thing I knew, my fingers had plumped up.
Oh.
And I thought, great, I can move everything. And it still needed some help moving the fingers, but the arm moved and everything. And it was like, wow, great. But there was more.
Oh my God. But wait, there's more.
But wait, there's
Okay.
more. After that, I heard sounds coming out of the speakers that are in the hospital room. And they kept saying, we're testing you. We have this new therapy we're doing, and we're just going to walk you through it. And right after that, my husband came into the room, and I told him, there's this noise coming from the speaker. Please make it stop, because it was getting loud and loud and loud. And of course, he looked at me like, what am I talking about? And, but then I saw my iPhone, which was on the table next to my bed, and it was recording. And I saw the walker that was next to my bed, and it had a recording device on it. And it was plugged in so that everybody could hear me, everybody who wanted to. And like my oldest sister didn't want to, so she left. She left.
I would have
and my
listened.
sister-in-law didn't want to, so she left. But everybody else could hear me going on this, whatever was going on.
Whoa.
And when I went out into the hallway with the walker, there was a recording device on the walker, which was recording me at the same time. And I sensed this the whole day. And then I went back to my phone because it was recording all this time. And I thought, well, I'll go check it and see what was there. There's nothing there on the phone.
No sound at all.
No, it's like I never recorded it.
Whoa. Okay, so that was kind of part of the hallucination.
Yeah, very much so.
Okay.
And then some things happened after that. For days, I didn't watch television just because it wasn't ready. But I finally put the television on, and I kept seeing all different kinds of images. I'd be watching a program, all of a sudden a commercial would come on loud, and I changed the channel, and the same commercial would be on. Change another channel, the same commercial would be on, to the point where I just had to turn off the TV because
it too much stimulation.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And then I had a lot of what they call political hallucinations, which were at the time I thought were weird. The first one this was last December, so it's right after the election. And I was watching a news program where they were discussing what Trump's administration was going to be like. And I kept hearing one of the commentators saying the plan. And again, I had the situation where I changed the channel and kept hearing the words the plan. From the other person who was whoever else was on the TV was saying the plan. And again, I had to turn it off because it was the only way I could make it stop. Then I had a couple of what I call the Joe Biden hallucinations.
Oh my God.
One night about midnight, one night, a nurse came into my room and she was walking in front of my bed. And then she came up to me and said, I have very sad news to tell you. Joe Biden died. And then she left. And through the night, several other nurses came in. They all told me the same thing. Finally, the last one told me what had happened. And what had happened was he's still president. And he was in the presidential limousine, sitting on the right side of the presidential limousine with Hunter Biden was next to him, and Jill and their daughter Ashley were on the opposite side. All of a sudden, Hunter takes out a gun, shoots Jill and Ashley.
This is a dream, by the way. So everybody's freaking out.
And then puts the gun to himself and fires it. And Joe's sitting on the right side looking at all this, and he dies of heartache.
Oh my gosh. Joe Biden is calling right now. Oh my God.
And I had turned the sound off.
Interesting. I know.
This is weird.
It's all a dream.
Yeah, so that was the first one. And the second one came when they had to do a lumbar pull to finally figure out what's wrong with me. They couldn't figure out why I had seizures or what was causing it. So they kept doing tests and tests. They finally did a lumbar procedure. And first of all, I felt like I was ripping the space-time continuum apart, because instead of it being December 13th, which it actually was in real life, it was November 4th, Election Day.
Whoa,
And
Debbie.
as they're wheeling me into the room, I'm looking at all the nurses who were around the gurney, and all of them had name tags that said Debbie on them. And we got into the procedure room, and the doctors and the nurses and everybody said, I voted, where did you vote? They said, I voted, where did you vote? They didn't say who they voted for, just I voted, where did you vote? And I said, well, I voted in the Gallatin Town Hall. And they looked at me like they didn't hear me.
Oh.
So they had the procedure, and I'm out for it. And I came awake again. And one of the nurses leans over and says, I have some very sad news to tell you. Joe Biden died.
What?
Yeah, like
twice.
But because I had all these weird hallucinations before, first thing I did when I came back to my room was turn the television on. Next thing, they weren't talking about that.
They weren't talking
so
about it.
I knew it was in my head. And for a long time, I had images. There was one funny hallucination, was kind of funny. I was watching Jeopardy one night, and everybody was talking in a French accent, English with a French accent. And I'm like, what is this?
How bizarre is that?
What is this? It was funny. So I kept it on, and that was it. And the last hallucination I had, which also kind of political, came about a week later. I had my TV on, and it was the middle of the night, so the TV was on, and some political show was on. And one of the persons on the show said, oh, I have some very sad news to tell you.
Oh my God, if it's Joe Biden that's dying.
Mitt Romney died. He was deaf, he got sick, and he died.
Whoa.
And I turned the TV off, and for the rest of the night I kept hearing that in my head. He was deaf, he was sick, and he died. And that was the last of my visual hallucinations. After that, I had a bunch of audio hallucinations, which were also strange because they only came in my left ear. Nothing in my right ear, just in my left ear. And they were some nice things, like, children, my husband would say, I love you. And those were nice things. Then I heard things like phone ringing, like a busy signal from old phone ringing, and strange noises like that. And later on, I had an audio hallucination where I'm hearing like rain, hard rain falling from outside, and the blinds were closed, so I couldn't see it. But when surgeons and nurses came that morning, I said, that's some rain, isn't it? They kind of looked at me like, it's not raining outside. But I heard it was like really, really, really hard rain.
Oh my God.
There were a couple of other things after that, but there were some strange things. And at the time, I just told myself, because they weren't horrible.
Right.
They were just strange. And I kind of put it to that.
Right.
But, I did have some cognitive impairment from the seizures, which, was mostly at this time going away, but it took a while for it to subside.
Yeah.
When I finally had enough cognitive sense, I was wondering, what if they weren't hallucinations, but they were dreams? What does it make sense?
That brings us to today,
Yes.
which is such an interesting perspective, because I've never heard anybody doing this, taking the auditory or visual hallucinations from a stroke or from a seizure and actually looking at it through the lens of dreams. So because you're Dream Power Radio, Debbie, and
I was able to figure out in my own head what it meant to me.
Okay.
So the whole initial scene with Joe Biden in the limousine.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Okay.
If it were your dream,
if it were my dream, who are all these people in the limousine?
Yeah.
And I thought, well, Hunter Biden's kind of a little unstable, perhaps, but
maybe the unstable
part. And I didn't have any negative or positive feelings about the women; they were just there.
Okay.
And I had positive. The thing I always say about Joe Biden is how he felt about him politically.
Yeah.
He had a lot of hardships in his life.
Yes.
And he was a very empathetic person.
Yes. Right.
And so when I thought about what had happened during that time, I said to myself, this is what happened. The seizures were like the gun Hunter shot. It was out of the blue, out of nowhere, and just pow, it just hit. And it affected other people. It affected the family in their own way. And it was sad. It was sad for everybody. And the fact that he continued to die in my hallucinations meant, in dream work, death doesn't actually literally mean dying. It means ending of a phase and going through another phase. So there I was going through a phase, having these seizures, changing what was going on in my body and going into a new stage.
Right. An absolute, like a very abrupt ending to a chapter in your life. And we're going to talk a little bit more about Debbie's dream symbol interpretation of these things on the other side of this break. We will be right back. Did you know that every night when you nestle yourself into bed and close your eyes to the outside world, you're sleeping on untapped potential that could positively change your life? I'm Kelly Sullivan Walden, author of Dreamifesting. It's not just another book on manifesting, but a revolutionary approach blending science, spirituality, and the wisdom of your subconscious. If you want better health, better wealth, a better career, Dreamifesting will give you the tools to make it happen. I'm Kelly Sullivan Walden, author of Dreamifesting. It's not just a book. It's the gateway to the life of your dreams. Step into the magic at Mystic Journey, Santa Monica's sanctuary for the soul. From crystals to consciousness, books to tarot readings, more than a bookstore or gem store gallery, it's where spirit meets experience. Explore workshops and readings with intuitive guides. Visit us on Main Street in the heart and soul of Santa Monica, California, or online at mysticjourneyla.com. Your journey begins here. Oh, my Lord. Okay, and we're back. I am here with Debbie Spector Weisman. I'm Dr. Dream. If you're just new to this show or just watching for the first time or listening, whether live or in the archive, I'm in the Hudson Valley, upstate New York. I'm doing some promotion for my new book, Dreamifesting, which is in the upper corner over here. And I'm staying, my husband and I are staying with Debbie Spector Weisman and her amazing husband, Straw. And they worked on the movie What the Bleep. You might have seen that on many films and lots of media. And Debbie, if you just are joining us, Debbie.
And you can't see the beautiful fall foliage that's outside.
I know. I would like to turn things around, but maybe we will at the end. So yeah, it is epic outside. Oh my God. It's like orange and reds and yellows and greens. And it is just, it's like a Hallmark commercial. It's amazing. P.S. I'm coming home in a couple of days. I'm going to be, if you're watching or connecting with this live, I'm going to be at Mystic Journey Bookstore. That's October 25th at 2:30 to 4:30 for a live book celebration. It'll be a workshop. You'll learn how to dreamifest your best life. So check that out. And there's also I'm going to be in Portland at the new Renaissance New Renaissance Bookshop in Portland in November 7th to be precise. And then in San Francisco at a very special little salon, but on the news in San Francisco. Anyway, back to Debbie Spector Weisman. We're here. Debbie had a stroke. She had some seizures. And along the way, she had so many interesting quote unquote hallucinations, which is really akin to dreams. And because she's such a dream centric human, she did something that I haven't heard anybody else do on the planet. Put those quote unquote hallucinations through the lens of dream interpretation and looking at these situations like President Biden dying 3 times.
Yeah.
3 times, 2 times.
2 times.
2 times.
And
then Mitt Romney
dying.
once.
Yeah.
Okay, so Debbie, you were interpreting your dreams. So you're in the limousine. Hunter Biden shoots everyone.
Out of the blue, he picks up a gun and shoots everybody, except for Joe. Then he finally shoots himself. And I took that to mean that it was a sudden event, which it was. It affected my family in a deep way.
Your son, daughter.
My son, my daughter, my husband.
Yeah.
And the heartache that was caused by as a result of the seizure was felt by the empathetic person who actually ended up dying. But like you say, in dreams, dying doesn't mean death. It means a change.
Yeah.
An end to one phase and the beginning of another phase.
Exactly.
So I took it to mean that. And the other things, I had audio hallucinations after that. And the audio hallucinations had to deal with, starting the healing process.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I was in acute therapy and I was sharing a room with another woman.
Mm-hmm.
And every night when I was sleeping or I was lying in bed, I could hear the sound of a dog under her bed scratching the floor. And, I knew there was no dog in the room and there was no scratching, but, I just took it to mean that I'm getting down to the surface. I'm digging down, figuring out where I go from here.
Oh, that is so interesting. And if I may add, if it were my dream, I mean, there's an actual dog that you have and that I have, and having somebody comforting to help me understand what's going on in this bizarre circumstance. It feels like there's this warm and fuzzy element that's under it all.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some understanding that's helpful.
Yes. After that, when I got home, I didn't have any more hallucinations.
Okay.
They stopped. Then I was on the road to recovery.
What did you mean the beds, the empty hospital beds?
That I was alone. I was alone in a dark place
mm-hmm.
and didn't know why I was there,
mm-hmm.
what was going on,
mm-hmm.
and felt alone in that time.
So what's interesting, if I may also jump in, and I'm sorry that you felt so alone and you couldn't communicate, and you were inviting your daughter to meet you there. She couldn't join you. The interesting synchronicity is this was triggered by a past life regression. So as a hypnotherapist, I've done past life regressions over the course of my career.
So I have to add, when I went to this event, I never had a past life regression because I had the stroke before.
Exactly. But the interesting piece is that I, at the same time, I've my past life regression aspect of my business is really kicked in. I've been like doing more than ever and a part of this show called Old Souls and doing past life regression retreats. And so it's interesting timing that those came together. And some part of me would say maybe that they're like when you talk about being in the room with empty hospital beds, it makes me think if it were mine, maybe this is reminiscent of a past life of being in a room like the sanatoriums or when they would if you were sick you were cast aside like kind of left to die, although some people did see the light of day after those moments, but some didn't. And there would be empty beds all over the place because of the people that maybe could have been there, should have been there, and weren't. I don't know. It makes me feel past
I
life-ish
think
when I
about
think
it
about that.
because I never had a past life experience. I was hoping in this little workshop that I would have it, but I had stroke instead.
Maybe you had
And
one on steroids.
it could be. The one thing I remembered having, and I can't remember what it was, when the stroke happened, I was lying on bed and I ended up on the floor. And I kept hearing these 3 words over and over and over. And I wish I could remember what they were because, yeah,
Let's
that's
try
sort
to
of have
grapple.
some kind.
Right.
I don't know what they were, but anyway.
Was it connected at all to the plan?
This is before the plan.
Okay.
It's before the
All
plan.
right.
So, no, I wish I knew what
Okay.
they were, but they were gone. They went into, the ether, and
Yeah.
I don't know whatever happened to them.
Okay.
But anyway, here I am today. Still there.
Thank God. If you follow Debbie on Facebook or Instagram, there were so many people just reaching out and expressing their love. And it's like if you've ever wondered if people love you or if people are rooting for you, I mean, you hate to have to go through something so traumatic to know that you are loved. But I hope you came out of that feeling like you really were loved.
I did. Especially when having the images of my sisters.
Yes.
Who I have
right.
loving relationship with. I got the sense, the love was around. I was feeling it from my husband for sure, and the people around me, and knew that it was out there.
Yeah,
it was out there.
Well, what a beautiful thing to do. I mean, I love this, that while you're even in this like wonky, warbly in between space, you see your sisters, you see your sister-in-law, and just in such a succinct prayer, I love you, I forgive you. I mean, it's very ho'oponopono, cutting out a couple of the other pieces and just cutting right to the quick. I love you, I forgive you, I love you, I forgive you. I think they added, please forgive me. But that's, kind of connected in there somewhere. But what a beautiful thing. Like if you were going to pass, because sometimes in those places, like the veil is so thin that we do go. When I had my near-death experience, I didn't know for sure I was coming back. But as a way of maximizing that incredible lucidity, to use it in a way toward forgiveness and love is just such a beautiful thing, because the way we end a chapter often gives way to the way that we start the next chapter. So you ended that chapter with love and forgiveness, and that kind of propels you. And then the president dying, and then the president trying to be the president.
Yeah. Having a plan.
Having a plan. So where do you go with that? What does that mean for you?
Well, I took it to mean that there was a plan for me going forward. He was just starting his administration.
Wow.
And again, not to get political, didn't matter the crap that he's ended up doing, but starting his administration, having a plan, meant I need to have a plan on what I was going to do once, he recovered, what I hope to recover. And I wrote a piece about when I had my first stroke.
Yeah.
I looked up statistics.
Right.
And I forget off the top of my head what the statistics were.
Yeah.
But I do remember that 20% of people recover fully from their strokes.
20%.
20%. I mean, a lot of people die. A lot of people are impaired. So I was determined to be in the 20%.
Yes.
And I don't say I'm there yet. I still have a lot of work to do. My neurologist says it could take up to 2 years.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm reading other things about strokes and reading that you can continue to recover. There's never a stop.
Right.
Just the increments get
Mhm.
smaller, but
Mhm.
but it put me in a really, really, really good place. Because the other thing that happened was I did, not surprisingly, I did a life review
While you were in that space,
while I was in the hospital.
while you were in the hospital.
life
Ooh, let's
hospital.
hear about the life review.
Well, it was all about love. I was thinking about how,
Wow.
I've had times in my life when I felt very depressed, and I realized that there was no reason for that. I had so many rich things going on in my life that
Mm.
I took advantage. I mean, I didn't
Took for granted. Right. Yeah.
took for granted.
Yeah.
And you see, well, I can't do that anymore. I have to embrace what's going on
Damn.
and embrace gratefulness, which I
Yeah.
have. And
That's the whole message.
yeah, that's it.
To like love while we're here, to appreciate while we're here, to be grateful while we're here.
Mhm.
Debbie, that's a big deal. That's a big deal.
It is. It's a big deal for me.
Yeah.
I've come a long way in my lifetime in terms of understanding myself and being able to help other people help them understand themselves and have this realization at this point in my life that it's going to go on.
Yeah.
Go on. I'm going to continue to have new experiences and new events.
Yeah.
But as long as I remember that love and compassion and joy are there in the background,
Right.
I could always pull that back and remember.
That is the best thing. That's like a lucid dream, just a vivid dream that you're able to hold on to, just like your dolphin riding bareback on that dolphin. I mean, there's something kind of related. It's one thing to have a dream, it's another to remember it, and then it's a whole other thing to work with it and to bring it into, like, have it weave in, become a thread that goes out our ordinary life, because there's going to be stresses. You're about to move, and there's like there's a lot of life just keeps lifing. But and I would dare say everybody's had a really positive dream somewhere along the line, or some kind of a wake up call, some kind of an awakening moment. And it's not over just because you woke up. It's not over just because you find yourself in a stressful moment. So I would say, if you had a great dream, or have you had an awakened moment? What was happening during that time? And what do you remember? What's the best thing you could milk from it? For me, I think about being on the other side in my near-death experience and feeling, first of all, relief, because there's some part of me that was relieved to not be in the body, because it felt heavy compared to the lightness. But then there was this sense of like having all knowledge and wisdom being poured in, and this feeling of being so deeply loved. Mostly, I would say it's that so deeply loved that is like the injection that I want to bring in and that I do think about every day. And do I live at that level all the time? Absolutely not. But damn, I try. So what would you say is
Still trying.
with the best part of what you experience with all of that, that you really hope to, like, if you could bottle it, drink it every day, sell it, share it, what would it be?
Everybody listening to this or watching this, please love yourself. You're a beautiful, magnificent being, whoever you are, and you deserve all the love that you should get. Most importantly, you deserve to love yourself. And that's a lesson took me a very long time to learn. But another thing I wanted to mention was that lately, in the past couple of months, I've been having a lot of dreams. But even though, I learned from you, I learned how to remember my dreams, and they were very vivid while I'm sleeping, but I couldn't remember a single one when I woke up. But I did remember that I had a really good feeling, and that the dreams were about very positive aspects going on. So, I feel very positive about what's going on in me. Like I said, I haven't recovered fully from this and have some issues. I love the term left-hand neglect because it sounds so innocent.
It does that, like, oh, my poor little left hand. I keep forgetting all about it. So you have to just kind of bring it in.
Yeah.
Let me see your left hand.
Yeah.
Oh, I love her left hand. Yeah. You will not be neglected by me.
No, hand looks fine. See, I can move my hand, but
yeah,
I can't do the fine things. One of the things that two things I miss.
Yes.
One is because I have the seizures, I have to wait 12 months before I can drive again.
Right. Okay.
So I can't.
And you were a driver. In fact, yeah. Okay, I'll talk about that in a second. Keep going.
And the other thing that
misdriving.
And misdriving, and I also see this is where my brain doesn't fully connect. I was going to say something I don't remember what I was going to say.
You had told me that one of the things is also just like being able to do like computer stuff and
typing.
Right.
I write, and I was very active, involved in a writing group. And after I had my stroke, I got to the point where I was able to write something for the group. This was right before I had the seizure. And since the seizure, it took me months to attempt to write anything. I had what I think was called expressive. Now, see, I'm trying to think of the word. What do you mean when aphasia? Expressive aphasia.
Oh, interesting.
Because I could feel all these things, and I remembered everything that happened in the hospital. I was able to make voice recordings. So I knew I had to do that. I knew I had to get some kind of record for it, but I couldn't write. But it took me months to deal with that because I tried typing, and even today I just type with my right hand, because if I type with my left hand, the first thing that happens is I hit caps lock, and it knocks everything out. Doesn't make sense at all. So
these are high quality things to be upset about, because it's like you're alive, and you can't drive right now, and typing is hard, but you have a story worth telling, and you did transcribe it. Like, thank God technology is on your side.
Right. I mean, I was able to voice record and do transcriptions. And
thank God.
At first, I think I sent you something.
Yeah.
And it was like I looked back on it, it says half unintelligible.
I don't think so. I was able to intelligible it.
But I was able to go back and edit it and make it into something readable that anybody could read.
Yeah. Well, you've got a story worth telling.
Yeah. And I think, I still have some recovery to do. And I really hope I can, write with my hands again, because the way I thought to write, or the thinking behind writing, was to type in front of the computer. And that's how I get my thoughts. And now I have to do dictation. I'm learning how to do that, but it's not the same thing.
Yeah, right.
It's
it's
a process that I haven't mastered it yet. So I'm still working on it, because I think long term it's going to help me a lot. But I'm glad I wrote down or recorded all of these things.
Yeah,
I think the next phase of my life, once I feel more recovered, and once I feel like my cognitive abilities are feeling more Debbie, I'm either going to do a Substack or a probably not a podcast, but certainly writing.
Yeah, Substack is great
about my experiences, and
that's wonderful,
because it's what I've also realized from something else that was going on in my life that had nothing at all to do with the seizures or the stroke, is thinking about the effect I've had on other people's lives. And everybody thinks, maybe if they have children, they think, oh, I have an effect on your children, or I have an effect on your spouse, or loving relationship.
Right.
But you don't think about all the other people who are maybe, 10, out there
Mm-hmm.
who you've had contact with over the years,
Yeah.
and how, whether you know it or not, you've affected them. And realizing that and coming to grips with that was another thing that's helped in my recovery, because it's kept me
Ooh.
sane.
Speaking of
Yeah.
sane, yeah. Well, thank you, Debbie Spector Weisman, for being on the show today, and welcome home, Straw Weisman. And it's so wonderful to be here with you. And until we all meet again, maybe don't take your dreams lying down, or don't take your strokes lying down. Don't take your seizures lying down. Don't take your past lives lying down.
And sweet dreams, everybody.
That's sweet dreams. Thanks for tuning in to Dreamifesting. If your inner light is shining a bit brighter, share the glow. Like, subscribe, and spread the word. Until next time, remember, the more you pay attention to your dreams, the better you live. The better you live, the more you lift us all. So keep dreaming, keep believing, and keep dreamifesting.